We've all been there where we're trying to learn something new and the information is just going in one ear and out the other. Whether we're reading a book or listening to a teacher or listening to a YouTube video, it can be one of the most frustrating experiences because you're genuinely putting an honest effort into trying to progress yourself in the right direction, yet your brain just won't cooperate. In this video, I'm going to discuss what I've learned about learning and how to actually retain the information that you're inputting. The first key ingredient here is that you need to warm up before you go and learn. Just like anything else, you need to warm yourself up for it. If you just go in there and you're like, all right, I'm gonna watch this 20-minute video on how to learn more effectively, and you're inputting that information except for you didn't make space in your mind for that information. Before you're going into a learning session, you're going to want to output information first. And what I mean by this is, well, really thinking in general of any sort, whether it's speaking or it's journaling and writing thoughts down, or you're going on a walk and allowing your mind to wander, or you're meditating. If you do that just for maybe 10-15 minutes before your learning session, your mind is going to be much more clear. You're not going to have those distracting thoughts that are keeping you from, well, being present and inputting the information and allowing it to get inside your brain. It seems to me that our brains are only capable of processing so much information in a day. And in order to allow it time to process the information, we have to consciously allow it time, right? And again, this is through outputting information. So warm up before you go and learn. Don't go in there without any sort of warm up. That's dangerous, right? If you go into the gym and you don't warm up, you can injure yourself. If you're going into a learning session and you don't warm up, you're going to waste your time. Your brain only has room for so much information, so you need to make room for that information. The second key ingredient here is, it's sort of an obvious one, but I find that it's something that most of us don't do, which is odd because I know that most of us know that we should be doing it. And that's just simply taking notes. If you take notes while you're watching a YouTube video, while you're reading a book, it will signal to your brain that that information is important. And regardless of if you ever read those notes again, your brain is going to be more likely to remember it. Your brain takes information that it believes is more important than other information and makes that information easier to recall, right? So if you take the notes, if you write the information down, the important information down, your brain is going to rank that information as a higher level of importance, and it's going to stick in your mind. It's again, it's something that most of us don't do, and something that genuinely it's very easy to do. It's just a little uncomfortable as you're building that habit up. You don't want to stop and pause the video and write something down. It feels like so much effort, but I'm telling you, it is worth it. If you think about it, whatever you're trying to learn, right? Maybe it's in order to get the job that you want, right? Or maybe you're learning how to make music and make a career out of that. If you're trying to learn without taking notes, you've got to realize that there's other people that are trying to learn that same thing that you're trying to learn. And those people are your competition, and some of them are taking notes. If you don't do it, someone else is going to do it, and they're going to learn more effectively and more efficiently than you. Again, you might think it's unnecessary, but I'm telling you, if you want to be genuinely successful and genuinely retain the information that you're inputting, write down notes while you're doing it. And I don't just mean write down quote for quote what I'm saying or what other YouTubers are saying, or quote for quote what the book says. There's an added benefit to also writing down your own original thoughts to it. Things that relate to your everyday life in particular, I find are extra effective. If you say that you can relate to something that I'm saying in this video because of experiences at work, right? If you write that down, you're like, oh, this reminds me of this. When you're going through your day at work, it's going to make you think about this information that you want to remember, right? So there is certainly added benefit to, writing about what you think rather than just writing down what I think or what the author thinks or what the YouTuber thinks. You got to teach yourself how to think in general, right? If you're not allowing yourself to think and you're just letting them think for you, you're not going to get very far in life. But regardless, take notes. If you have to take it one step at a time, quote for quote is better than not doing it all. So don't be discouraged. My third key point here is that less is more. Your brain can only process so much information in a day, in an hour, in any period of time. It can process 7 bits of information per moment, and I don't know what defines it as a moment, but much less than a second, essentially. But regardless, the point is that it's a set amount, and that you can never just process more information than that amount. That's the set amount that you can process. So in order to take, what you can do with this information and understanding is, it lets you understand that more information is not better. If you put, say you have an hour to climb up the learning curve of whatever you're trying to learn, whatever you're passionate about. You went to work, you got that out of the way, you did the dishes. Okay, now I have an hour to learn about what I want to learn about. If you go and spend that entire hour watching, a video about that topic, it's an hour-long video, takes up the whole period of time, you're going to get a relatively shallow understanding of that video. If you instead give yourself, you watch a 40-minute video, and you take your time, you pause in order to think through things that the YouTuber is saying, or again, if it's a book, the author is saying, if you take that time, you're going to understand it in depth. Understanding, 40 minutes of information or 40 pages of information in depth provides you much more value than 60 minutes of information or 60 pages of information shallow, and a shallow understanding. Less is more. Slow and steady wins the race. These are all sayings that we've heard a million times, but they apply to learning in a considerable manner. Again, you can only process so much information in a period of time, and if you overcram that information into your mind, and then you go, you're like, oh, my hour's up, now I gotta go do this thing, and then you never got time to really think through everything that you learned, and then it just becomes background information. It just becomes some other part of your day, when it's supposed to be like, oh, this is what I'm doing, this is what I want to do, this is my passion, this is what I want to learn about, right? if you really want to learn about it and you really want to have it sink into your mind that information, that specific information, is more important than the other information that you learn throughout the day, you have to slow down and take your time to genuinely think about what is being said. Again, write notes. Maybe pause the video when things are complicated and just allow yourself to think. Close your eyes, allow yourself to think. Maybe just for 20 seconds. That's no big deal, right? You don't have to actually do the action of writing things down. You don't have to have a pen or paper for that. But it's been proven it's been proven in studies that pausing while you're reading every once in a while to just let yourself think allows you to learn better. So the main point of this video is essentially slow and steady wins the race. Take your time to warm up. Take your time to actually do the learning through taking notes and pausing. And, well, take your time afterwards as well. Something that I do, I usually, after reading, I'll meditate for 30, maybe 40 minutes, or go on a walk. Both of those are incredibly important and allow you to organize the information. But anyways, I'm starting to sound like a broken record, so I'm going to cut it here. But if you guys found any value in this video, I'd really appreciate it if you showed some support and gave me a like, a comment, maybe share it with a friend. Anything at all helps, really. I just want to help spread good information out into the world. So thank you again, and I hope you have a good day.